Welcome to MotoUSA TV. We've got some interesting features for you this week and a look into some major racing that's bearing down. A mystery since its first appearance as concept model in 2008, the new Honda VFR1200F continues to challenge the rigid class conventions. Is it a sport bike or a touring platform? We aim to find out by pitting the Honda against the Suzuki Hayabusa, which represents pure hypersport performance, and the new and improved 2010 Kawasaki Concourse 14, which represents the touring end of the performance spectrum. Not surprisingly, the versatile Honda exhibits traits from both extremes, with plenty of performance offered from this nimble chassis and distinctive V4 engine, along with a comfortable riding position. But do we figure out exactly what the new VFR is? Find out in our latest comparison review. Accompanying our VFR Comparo, we offer up a first look at the VFR880 Bioblade, a one-off custom build by two Belgian motor journalists. The Bioblade was created in response to what some people thought the new VFR1200 should have been, a V4 800cc Supersport. It's a unique design that runs on biodiesel, no less. Find out more in the feature article from contributing editor Jenny Omarogby. Americans love their big toys, so Husqvarna bumped the displacement on its TE and the SM610 models to a new 630 design. The TE is the base model, offering larger wheels and more suspension travel for a real off-road experience. The dual sport market is doing well, but the big bore single-cylinder class was due for a shot of adrenaline. Husqvarna has a whole new look to go with increased performance from its fuel-injected adventure bike. For those who prefer slicing pavement, the SM changes out knobbies for a set of motard wheels and oversized brakes. Our off-road editor went to Italy as the first wave of journalists to ride these new Huskies, and the first ride report and video are available now. Speaking of adventure bikes, one of the hottest new machines in recent history is the KTM 690 Enduro. This motorcycle is an enigma, too big and powerful to be classified with the traditional 650 crowd, but not big enough to join the 800-plus adventure bikes. But maybe that's a good thing. Chili White spent considerable time with the Austrian machine, immediately falling for its abundant power and surprisingly agile handling. He logged hundreds of miles around Southern California before KTM could pry it away. Watch for that full review coming soon. Kawasaki makes some of the most advanced and fun four-wheel drive ATVs available. Adam Waheed hitched a ride with Team Green to scrap it out on the 2010 Brute Force Utility Quad and then sat behind the wheel of the updated Terex 750 4x4 side-by-side. Both of these machines use powerful fuel-injected V-twin engines and locking differentials to make sure riders never stop moving forward. The Terex UTV is double the fun with the ability to haul a passenger and a full bed of cargo. Adam will post his opinion in the ATV section of Motorcycle USA. Supercross finally got a week off over the Easter holiday, which means the crew should be well rested and ready to roll as the series heads to Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas. Ryan Dungey leads the 450 class on his factory Suzuki, but Ryan Villopoto is trying desperately to chase down his 21-point lead. That task might be a whole lot easier with Monster Energy Kawasaki teammate Chad Reed slated to resume racing this week. If Reed is back on pace, will he help his teammate or just plain beat him? Houston also marks the penultimate round of East Coast Lights racing, where Christoph Purcell is milking an 8-point lead. The off-road crowd is headed to Union, South Carolina for the Pirelli Big Buck GNCC Round 4 of the Grand National Cross Country Series. Riders will battle for MotorcycleUSA.com whole shot money and a chance to knock off XC1 leader Josh Strang and Caleb Russell in XC2. The quads are added as well, with Chris Borick and Brian Wolf leading the two ATV divisions. Road Racing's Premier Series is about to get underway with the opening round of MotoGP in Qatar. MotoUSA's Steve Atlas has the scoop on what to expect this season.
Thanks, MJ. Now it's time to get down to business, the business of MotoGP. And when you're talking about the Premier class, how can you not talk about Valentino Rossi? He may be 31 years old, but there's no doubt the doctor hasn't let up a bit. Leading testing and setting a new lap record at Sepang, he's definitely the rider to beat. So who's going to challenge him? Well, that's up to his teammate Jorge Lorenzo, who looks to be the perennial favorite, though a broken hand may hold him back. He's joined by Casey Stoner at Ducati, who had troubles with stomach issues last year, though claims to be healed this year. Only time will tell. On to the American trio. One thing is for sure, Ben Spies has surprised everyone, including himself. He may say he wants top 10 finishes, but don't be surprised. With top 4 placings in preseason testing, we expect the Texan to be on the podium this year, if not early on. He's joined by his Monster Tech 3 teammate Colin Edwards, who's been riding the best he ever has in his life, as well as the Kentucky kid, Nicky Hayden. Now, Nicky struggled last year with the Ducati, but he seems to have found that elusive setup, and no doubt he's hungry to prove all the naysayers wrong. And that about wraps it up for the big news in MotoGP. So let's move on to Moto2. Leading the way thus far has been ex-MotoGP man Tony Elias. He's been at or near the front in nearly every single test, though a fall in the final session in Jerez came at just the wrong time, leaving him with a broken left foot and a broken left hand. He got him plated in Spain and says he's gonna ride, but at what percent? We'll have to find out. Holding up the sole American contingent is Kenny Noyes. He joins the team Jack and Jones by Antonio Banderas in his rookie season at Grand Prix. And while most would think it would take a while to get adapted to the 600, he's jumped right on and been on pace immediately in the top 3 to the top 5 in every test, even leading some sessions. So stay tuned to MotorcycleUSA.com for all your highlights, updates, and insider information for this action-packed 2010 MotoGP season. I'm Steve Atlas, and I'll see you at the races.
World Superbike racing rolls into Spain this weekend and the Valencia circuit. Suzuki's Leon Haslam leads the point standings heading into round 3, but Aprilia's Max Biaggi is fresh off a double victory performance at round 2 in Portugal. The two hottest riders in the paddock will have to battle with a list of podium contenders, including the slumping Ducati Xerox team during Sunday's doubleheader. Read more about the upcoming races and find timely Sunday results online. And also remember to make your picks in our Fantasy Superbike racing game so you don't fall behind. And speaking of fantasy racing, this weekend marks the beginning of the MotoGP season and our accompanying Fantasy GP game. Make sure to sign up and get your picks selected today. Glad you could join us this week on MotoUSA TV. Stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter, where you can talk directly to the makers of MotorcycleUSA.com and fellow motorcycle fans. I'll see you next week.